Res.
Welcome back to Red Res. This is a soapbox discussion manned by DeResolution, as Red Giant is recording some new Splatoon footage for you guys, so stay tuned for that. This is in regards to the new rumor coming out that Nintendo's NX, the code name for its new console, would run on a Android architecture. Now, this is some good news and some bad news. It has pros and cons. The first big pro, the main reason for this shift in OS, is the fact that it would open up the software development to third parties who are, and there's a lot of them, who are well versed in the Android infrastructure. Nintendo has had a history, we all know, of lacking in third-party support. No matter, we're all Nintendo fanboys over here, but you know, no matter how you cut it, they have a problem with third-party support. Now, this is for a number of reasons. The primary reason, especially with the console generation, is the PS4, especially because it's the way it's built is very similar to a PC, and the Xbox One, which is built rather similarly. These two are very easy, just as last generation was, to develop for at the same time for both. You develop for one, you port it over with a few things, and you're good to go. The Wii U is a little different. Now, if you want to see, proof of this, or you want to back it up, you can look at, let's see, the Kickstarter from, what's his name? Is it Kenji or whatever? Sorry again, mispronouncing, but his new Kickstarter for his Castlevania spiritual successor actually had a separate Wii U stretch goal. Now, not only was this stretch goal separate, but it would involve the hiring of another company to port the game because they are well versed in the Nintendo infrastructure. This is, believe, former Metroid developers who would be manning this, so they know the Nintendo hardware in and out, and so they saw fit to hire them to build an individual port of the game for the Wii U. Now, this is a Kickstarter, so from the get-go, they're going to be building this with fan input, and they're going to be building it, starting now. So they could plan for this type of stuff, and they saw how the Wii U works, and they said, we need somebody, better adapted for this. So this goes to show how Nintendo can definitely use an easier backbone to develop for when it comes to their new console and working with third-party developers. I mean, other companies have gone on the record and said, hey, the Nintendo Wii U is easy to develop for. But personally, I think that's because they've taken the time out to learn it. But the fact of the matter is, if you're developing for the PS4 and the Xbox One, it's just too much time and too much work to develop a separate build for the Wii U. I mean, it's as simple as that. And besides, I think it's Bloodstained Kickstarter. Besides that, if you want even more proof, just look at Project Cars, which actually went out of their way, to support Wii U and say, hey, we want to put this on there. And now they're coming out saying, listen, we can only get it working at like 28 frames per second, which and Nintendo's is becoming known for putting out 720 or 1080 games that are output at 60 frames per second steadily. So this is just another instance of, hey, Nintendo knows how to work their console, they know how to work it well, but when it comes to a third-party developer, not so much. So that's definitely a pro. One of the cons is the fact that Androids are notorious for bugs, for fragmented user base, which use like 3 different forms of the OS, and huge piracy issues. Now, this is all based on the fact that Android is primarily used for phones, and each phone decides to either use a new firmware version, or they all use the standard form of apps, which is the APK, which is very easy to hack and spread out across the interwebs, no matter if it's a free version or a premium paid version. So this isn't necessarily a huge con, just for the fact that when Nintendo, if they do use Android for their new console, the NX, they will most likely, they will definitely, change it to their liking and basically turn it into a Android Nintendo Frankenstein creation. This is already seen when the Oh Yeah console was kickstarted. They use Android as a backbone, but they put their own they edit it to their liking and they create their own OS that's birthed from the Android, but is still independent. These issues that are inherent with Android are not necessarily going to carry over when you have the Nintendo. That being said, if I had it my way, now this is going to, create a whole new debate amongst you followers. If I had my way, I would have it Nintendo joining with Apple to format rather than Android, which I know that would be a lot harder because Android OS is closed. But the fact of the matter is Android has way more, has a decent, considerable chunk more of apps. They also are usually cleaner. And I mean, let's face it, Nintendo, it's on its way to a profitability, but it could use a little bit more oomph. It could use that, hey, we are partnering with Apple, which no matter if you like them or you don't, they're about to rule the world. Or if they already are, hey, I love you guys, don't, shut me down. They know what they're doing, So you see a partnership from Nintendo and Apple, that Nintendo, next console generation, they're coming out flying. With Android, it's still looking very good, but Android does have those issues that I said. All in all, this is some very interesting news. We will see in the future. Probably not E3 because Nintendo has already gone on the record saying they won't talk about the NX. But we will see in the future if this is true. Personally, it's cool. It's interesting. I don't know how I don't like Nintendo basing their stuff on another company. For all I know, all of their other OSs could have been based on something pre-existing as well. So I won't say what I don't know, But Android why? Well, I told you why. So stay tuned for more information coming on this issue and more. With E3 right around the corner, Christmas for all of you guys and me included. So stay tuned, subscribe, and take it easy, keep it sleazy.
Check it out. Subscribe.